And I want to say Happy New Year to some, and also Happy Kwanzaa to the rest. We are in officially in 2025 over here in the U.S. In other places in Africa, some of them their New Year's in September. We just celebrated Kwanzaa as well. But more than anything, we have an attitude of gratitude because we're thankful to be here in 2025. So today I'm going to be giving you a tour of our number one greenhouse and number two our hot houses my husband had built, and let you know what's going on and give you some insight on everything that's going to be going on. And I want to take you with me. Okay. So welcome to our Back to Eden urban homestead. Yes, gardening goes on, even though this is January of 2025. As you can see, we are in the state of abundance. We have everything in here, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour and a little bit about these plants and also what we're doing. But over here to the left, we have my beautiful tree that was grown from seed. Took me maybe 9 or 10 times, and this is a cancer bush from South Africa. And I have grown it from seed, and I actually have seed saved from this year. Now I cut it back, and I'm going to be taking those toppings off again and be making more tinctures with that. And I have some now, and it's very potent. I haven't used that yet, but I will give you more information about that. We have lavender here in the background. We have some oregano, and this is the medicinal oregano. Yep, and that's a good oregano. We have some beets out front. We have some lemon balm coming back here. Very relaxing. Lavender basil. We have peppers. My husband just took a whole lot of peppers off. Now, we are getting a few little ants here. My husband's been spraying. He's been spraying with a nice mixture of all homemade. Everything that the plants hate, bugs hate. So it's our own repellent made from our own herbs. And you'll be able to get that information on our e-site and our e-store. But it's a homemade formula, and it works wonders for aphids and things of that nature. So he just sprayed it recently, I think yesterday. But our plants are doing really well. And I'm going to show you way back here in the corner, one of my loves and desires. Now, this is the time of the year where it's good to do transplants. I did a lot of transplants. And back here, we have yarrow. And the genius name, Achilles. That yarrow growing back there, the little ferny looking area. And that is such a wonderful plant, medicinal. That's an all-in-all plant again, too, that I love to use. We have leaf of life. And I have leaf of life plants everywhere. They're propagating all over. I'll show you even under this sage. This is white sage, and this is what we use. And I make the smudging, and I also use it for cooking. But there's lots of brand new little leaf of life plants coming up, along with the lavender. You know, so I take out things and then I add things back in. Back in the back, this is anima, the Indian name, or guinea hen weed, the petravelia, and there's little seeds forming on the end. Now, this has been picked over for at least 4 times. So right now what you see, this is going to be all new little leaves coming out, and they will be back green again. Now over to our right side here, we have a huge collard tree. We have little onions, and I'm sorry, these are garlic chives right here. Garlic chives, and I use the top of those in salads and in eggs and then different things. And this is Bacopa monera. This is a wonderful plant for memory as well. All around you see these beautiful bok choys. They're here and on the other side. I use these daily in stir fries. There's lemongrass to the back, Swiss chard over there. There's some cilantro. I see a cannabis plant growing in here. I don't know if it's male or female. And yes, we do grow cannabis for medicinal purposes as well. I like to use that raw in smoothies.
The comfrey.
Oh, look at the comfrey. My husband really wants me to have a lot of these, and I do. They come back every year, but there's a beautiful comfrey plant coming back right now. You know, and this is just because we are wintering over with these beautiful store homes in here, where there's more pak choi here. And again, I used all of the smaller outer leaves or the big outer leaves first for juicing. And now since we're freeze drying, we have a complete operation. I do the picking, chopping, and my husband does the freeze drying. and then he goes in and does a grinding process once it's freeze dried. So we have nutritional smoothies on a regular basis, even when we don't. There's a lot of other plants in here. I'm not going to go into every one. This one I'm going to tell you about a little later on. This is thyme right here, and it's doing wonderful. And again, there's some cannabis back there. I'm not sure whether it's male or female, but I use everything. So for me, wholeness, being a herbalist, holistic is the way that I go, using the whole plant always. This is lemon balm once again. We have some beets in here. We have peppers, and there's another leaf of life popping up over there, and a pepper plant. And again, now the type of pest control that we're doing is more for aphids. We even get slugs. We don't have any yet, but we will be making sure this week we'll be preparing, because slugs is another thing that you get when you have moisture like this, because this is a tropical environment. So I think maybe once or twice a week, my husband comes in and he kind of pounds it and let's see how the water will come down. So there's not a need for a lot of watering in here. He waters at least once a month?
Mm-hmm.
Once a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have water drops on my nose now. So once a month he'll water, but he'll just come in with a broom and just kind of shake it on the outside, let the little rainfall comes down. So it's a good process. The doors are open. He also opens the doors all throughout the day, so there's a ventilation coming through here.
Different wires.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through this booby trap, so bear with me. There's a huge globe artichoke leaf. Now those leaves are very, very medicinal. I use those to make prebiotic. They're good for the gut and to make bitters. So I'm going to be doing that. There's a huge cabbage back there. And I also see calendia flowers coming up in that same um, container. And they'll be blooming out very soon. And then you see the tomato plants. And we even have in here a little lime bush, or this is a lemon. And I see flowers on here. There's another one in the other greenhouse, and you'll see it. Now look at these tomatoes. So we are getting a little bit of activity here. And all of these, this is what keeps us going through the winter. For me, there's never a dull moment, and that's why we work so hard, even in the wintertime, because this is all of the abundance that you can get. We have the mustard spinach here. There's parsley back there. There's turmeric I let die down. There's Genovese basil. There's more Genovese basil here. And going back here, we have, you can see there's also ginger. And yes, this ginger is overwintered. I did not pull any of these out because what they're going to do is just come back again and multiply in the spring. In the back, you see the broadleaf thyme, or some people call it Cuban thyme. That's the one that's way back there with the big leaves on it next to the peppers. We have peppers and we have collards, and everything is doing good. And this is another lemon tree that we saved. This is a broccoli making a head here, lavender. Over here, more of the greens. Now we have so many greens, and it seems like, oh, you guys, what are you going to do with them? Believe me, starting tomorrow. Well, no, I can't say that because the grandkids will be here tomorrow. But on next week, I'll be taking all of these big leaves and turning these into super powdered greens, freeze drying them, where you will get all the nutrition, and then they can be moved over into my smoothies or soups at the last minute. This beautiful nettle, this is stinging nettle. Lots of common names for this, but stinging nettle is one of the best medicinal plants that you can use for year round. We have brown spicy mustards coming up in here.
And they came up here a year ago. We had a whole patch over here.
Yeah, so they're coming back. We have horehound over here. There's white horehound and black horehound. Don't ask me which one it is, but it's very medicinal. I use it for the purposes of coughs and colds. My mother used to make old-fashioned horehound little throat lozenges that we used to use, and they were coated with probably powder back then, but slippery elm is what you would use to coat them to make those. I have used them in my tinctures. I'm still using that, but this nettle is very, very medicinal. It carries all of the vitamins. It's like taking a multiple vitamin, so that's good for the whole family. I use it in teas, soups. You can cook and bake with it as well.
What is this? Is this parsley?
Yeah, actually, this is not parsley. He's asking me what this is, and this is actually oh, what's the name of it? Feverfew. It has
Oh, that's
lots of
right.
flowers.
Right.
So it's self-seeded and it's
Mm-hmm.
coming back. It will take us very invasive. It will take over the whole box. It's gorgeous, but it's very good. And then we have some aloe plants back there. And of course, once again, the star of the show here, and we trimmed this back, believe it or not, but this is guinea hen. Guinea hen is good for cancer. Um, they've actually named it as one of the clinical medicines for now Alzheimer's and dementia. It's good for your immune system. And then this is the tree that we had to have cut back this year for the high tunnel. And this is a Jamaican cherry.
It was about 12 feet high.
Yeah, it will continue to grow. And the only thing I hated that I didn't do is I didn't take the cuttings and make more trees. But we really don't have the room on the property because this is a tropical tree. So I won't worry about it. But they cut it. But you see, it's already blooming out. It had the beautiful little Jamaican cherries. They taste between a banana, kumquat, and maybe melon. So it's got a really mellow taste. The birds love it, and we get the tropical little birds in here when we open up. And it's kind of the leaves are kind of like umbrella. It's a beautiful tree. He didn't. My husband didn't want to cut it, but we have to cut it
No.
because it was like the greater good. What do we do? Get rid of the tree or all of our beautiful plants? And we depend on these plants all year long. That's the thing about it. When you have a garden like this, the Garden of Eden is year round. We can eat out of this garden. I can make medicine from this garden. This is the farm you see, pharmacy that you see. And we eat from this garden on a daily basis. We live from here. We are urban homesteaders with the hearts and minds and souls of our ancestors dating back all the way to Africa. And we love to live off the land. We can't do it so much because we're in the city. We have HOAs. We have all these things going for us, but we take in as much as we can. And so when we do relate to go across that Atlantic Ocean, which we will be doing soon and bringing that to you too, we're going to use the skills that we've learned and that our ancestors have learned from the last 500 years and being on this land and take it back to our motherland, to our home. I recently did my ancestry and I was proud to find out the lineage of our family. And so, something coming from Sierra Leone, my mother was from Sierra Leone. My father is from the Burkina Faso area, which is actually the region of, actually, the original people came from Egypt, and that would be the Bissas. And I'm so excited about even learning more about that, even though we're probably going to land in South Africa. South Africa is the oldest, has the oldest origin of mankind there, and the Sands people. So I'm giving you history because I'm a historian too. When it comes to learning history, my background is being an educator at child care, preschool, learning center, all the way up into adulthood. And so now we're following suit.
And the author.
And an author. I've written a total now of 9 books, and the other books are being published right now, and they're going to be online, and we're going to talk to you about that because the publishing dates are as soon as 2 days from now. But there's a whole bunch of things that we have to bring to you from homeschooling for 2025, all of our ebooks for gardening, and how to live a sustainable life, your best life. Life is not over because you're 60. A lot of people don't want our wisdom that we can hand down, but then a lot of people do realize that, all of our ancestors and the elders, they have a starting point and we have the ending point. You don't want to wait till you're at the end of your life when there's something that you can learn to enhance your life for the better and for the good. We all make mistakes along the way, but I do realize in the culture that I study in Africa that the tribes that they had and their communities was everything. And that is how they've survived colonialism. That's how we survived slavery. And now, at this point in time, in the world where we're at today, people are surviving and doing more than that. They're thriving. We're coming together with knowledge and wisdom, using old things as well as new. So, combining technologies. And I love that. I don't do any of this stuff when it comes to my husband's touching things and motors. I don't even want to know about it. But at the same time, look at this beautiful environment.
We have heaters in our high tunnels to go ahead and keep things growing, keep the soil at 60 degrees. So that's my job.
Yeah, that's not just his only job. He's a soil man too, but that's one of his jobs. We have many jobs, so
Yeah, we do.
he's explaining one of his jobs. But we don't mind being busy because that's the kind of people and the background we came from. We work hard, and an effort is demanded for a blessing to be received. But we do receive our blessings on a day-to-day basis. As you can see out here, we still have a lot going on, a lot growing. Um, and so we have our outdoor areas where things grow naturally, And I'll show you some of those up close in a little bit, but I want to take you into the next tent to show you what we have going on in here. And this one, he has to turn the heaters off even sooner because this one gets a little bit more sun and there's a shade cloth up out there. But look at this parsley. Parsley, we have peppers, we have dandelions, and I'll be taking these dandelions. And when I say take them, and this is why I say there's so much more to herbology and gardening, I don't have to get rid of this plant. So a lot of times we get rid of things too soon. These leaves I'm taking off here, they're going to grow new ones on the Swiss chart. And I'm taking from the outer sides of it, and I'm using them daily in juicing. These dandelions, the root is good, and so are the leaves. This is a liver cleanser, detoxer, tonifier. This is one of the best medicines that you can have. Back in the day, anyone coming from the South, they used to call it pot liquor. And the old people would take these plants and they would cook them and they would take the juice from there and they would give this same juice, the pot liquor, to your family because it cured whatever ailed your body. And they knew that. So there's so much in healing that we brought over from our ancestors when we were leaving the coast of Africa, the continent of Africa. You know, I just recently found out that Africa is not the true name. There's so much more. I can't tell you all about it, but you're going to find out in our homeschooling. That's another thing. We all have to get unschooled to be re-educated to know what the truth is, because there's a lot of lies, and we live with those lies because we didn't know any better. But through social media, through the technology now, we can reach out and touch each other. We can find out facts. No one has to be left behind. Age is nothing but a number, believe me. And so it's time that we catch up. The coleus plant is here. I'm looking at that. And I don't want to go through all of the things because you're going to get everything on the herbal triage, which will give you herbal identification, information on a regular basis. Then we have our Epicurean and the herbalist, where we're going to talk about what we're doing with the homeschooling, our complement packets that's coming out, and tell you what we're doing in the world of training and changing the faces of kids in education. And that will be me and my daughter. And then our Back to Eden garden. My husband's going to tell you because right now he has some control to do back there. See, that's damage from aphids. So that whole plant is down in that back. And that plant is down for one reason. It's too hot in here. And so these plants love heat. The aphids love the heat. So too much heat is what you will get. And then you will get a blight because of the moisture. So he's going to be doing some sanitizing in the next days to come. But I like to show you the good, bad, and the ugly because that's part of life. There's no such thing as a perfect garden. But so from there, he's going to be applying diatomaceous. We have a new sprayer that's on his way. It blows out the dust, which will give him less work to do. And then also the heating, he has to cut that off for a little bit.
I'm going to leave it off tonight.
Yeah. And so here's our lime bush. And I'm watching my step, and he's watching his step in here because this is a lot of stuff going on in here. I wouldn't advise anyone to.
We don't have a space.
Yeah. So look at that. The beautiful eggplant coming in. You know, one thing about nature, it teaches you to respect it. I definitely grew this for one reason. This is amaranth. Yes, amaranth. And I wanted the seeds, okay, from my own garden. There's all different types of amaranth. Some come in purple, rainbow colors. And this is a green amaranth. They call this callaloo in Jamaica. This is the animal plant again. And see these dandelions here? These are all because I took little tiny small ones and separated them and then put them in other pots. They weren't growing some other place. And my husband was saying, just throw them out. They're not going to grow. And I said, no, they're going to grow. These are the weeds that you see in your garden and in your lawns that you mow down. And they're so efficient to coming when it comes to vitamins. You want to keep these. Now, who's doing good in the cold right now? Let me show you. Besides, look at this Swiss chart. They're doing wonderful. Look at the collards. I mean, the kale. This is a blue Russian kale right here. Beautiful. And this is sage as well. And this is a pineapple sage, not the white sage that you saw over there. There's lemon balm. And then over here, we have more greens. And these are, see, I showed you on a previous video. And if you look back in our library, I can't show you now and tell you when. But I said, I'm transplanting. These plants were so little and weak and tiny. And look at how they took off. I transplanted them and I had them in one bed and they were overstuffed. And I said, I'm going to take them and I'm going to bring them over here. And now look at them, how they're popping out. I put one plant because you can do that. You can go and stuff one area with a bunch of starter plants And you don't have to do all of the fancy things like they tell you. Take them and put them in trays. You look at nature. There's nothing like that going on in nature. So I kind of let the same thing assimilate. I'm a farm girl. I grew up with my family having a couple of acres as a child, and every type of animal we had, as well as garden. So this is nature to me, and it's nature to my husband. His nana had a farm, and back in that farm, he did everything from gardening and taking care of the animals as well. I'm going to show you the flowers right there. Now this is a chicory, and that's the flowers from that. Once again, this is what dandelion and chicory is what we make the original coffees, and we got that from the Native Americans. And I'm big on paying homage to people on where these herbs came from. And another thing I want to say, a lot of these plants are not indigenous that we think they are to the U.S. because all of these things, a lot of these plants came over on the slave trade, like okra and things of that nature. We think what they came and originated here. No, they did not. So, we have to look, and we're realizing that there's a wealth of information out here.
Yeah.
And look at these tomatoes. My husband was determined this year, I'm going to have tomatoes. Well, we have tomatoes this year. We even left some outside. He said he didn't even care about it. I started laughing because we had so many. I said, don't you want to bring them in? Nope, just forget it. So, he's big on things that he loves, and when it's not, he wants to throw them away and say, let's start something different. But nevertheless, we have more parsley growing back there. Excuse me, parsley will grow and grow and grow. Now, the only thing I'm worried about in here, if there's mosquitoes, and I see little gnats flying around. So far, nothing has bitten me, but usually
I look like it's starting to do well.
What?
The garlic.
Oh, yeah, he's showing the garlic, and this is all organic garlic. We have several garlic areas, so this is one of them. This one is doing good over here.
Dinosaur kale.
Yeah, that's Lecentino, dinosaur kale in the corner, doing good. More dandelions, but right now it's time for me to do a nice picking. So we wanted. So next week, everything that comes to freeze drying and putting things away, that's what we'll be busy doing, making medicine, making herbs, making ciders, because believe it or not, a lot of these are things that you want to put into a cider for this time of the year. There's rosemary coming up. Yeah. And then a lot of these things that are diseased, I'm not worried about them. I'm going to have them to take them out, and I'll spend the time on trying to bring them back because I have too many other plants that are ready for transplant, and a lot of them are out here in the live garden area that doesn't even have shading. So everything doesn't need to be in a greenhouse, even though this is Las Vegas and it may be cool. But I'm going to show you and take you over here. So this is a bed of spinach, and so the cold doesn't kill out things like this. If we need to cover it, we do. But the spinach is doing all right. When things are going slower, it's okay to grow slower too, because the slower it grows gives you the ability to say, you know what, this is something that I can transplant. And I'm going to show you later over there that I have some beets is ready too. Been coming in, and so I have those, and I'm letting those dry out as well. We have more kale. We have more kale. My husband's getting all kinds of calls this morning. I guess everybody wants to talk. Do you want to walk this way?
Yes.
So I'm taking you guys with me. We have more tomatoes out here that have actually been withstanding the Las Vegas weather. Because again, we didn't have room to take these in. We said, we'll just see what they do. We have more kale over here that's doing really good.
It's curly kale right here.
Yes.
There's only one to get too.
I know. And then we have Brussels sprouts here. This is all full of okra, and those Brussels sprouts in between. Like I said, we just changed things out. These are pepper bushes that are still growing over here.
Let's see. I think it's slowed down, but I think when spring comes, it's gonna.
Yeah, there's still peppers in abundance. Look over here, all in here. Those peppers are on there. There's spinach growing on both sides over here. Yeah, so it's a combination of things that are not growing and things that are just going to come back in. Over here, we cut down all of our moringas, and that's wonderful because they're going to just root up and shoot up. I was very timid when I first started to do the process. That's why I said being an herbalist does not give me the opportunity to just say that I'm making tinctures or I don't know what they're. I like to see the growth of the plant, find out and study the plant and understand how it grows, where the energetics are, and how it's going to come back and benefit. So with this plant here, I was so worried. The first year I cut one down and it didn't come back up. Now, what I found out is that the closer you cut to the ground, the easier it is for it to start. You see that new life because it's not trying to do two things at once, just like we all try to do too many things, multitask. The energy is going in the ground and it's going to save it for the spring. It's going to come back up. And one thing about moringa, you'll get more of a yield out of it when it's bushy than it is long and tall and straggly. So something you can't reach is not going to benefit you. And I took that from Paul Gauchi. I will always give him his honor for being the gardener he is and leaving things to the creator. You know, the garden needs to benefit you. The garden is not there for itself. And we always say that we're the masters of the garden. So why would you have a garden that does not benefit you? His trees literally bow down so they can reach him and he can eat from the tree freely. We have to make sure that we're doing things not just for ego purposes or whatever, but the garden itself, putting down all of this natural matter that comes from this pine tree above, which is medicinal as well. I love to use pine needle tea, full of vitamin C, and even the pollen is good for things that we think that they shouldn't be, like allergies. So many uses for plants that our creator made for us. So
I'm going to pull this up and put it in a container that
the kumquat.
kumquat.
Yeah, there's the leaf of life
right here.
Yeah, and the leaf of life, they grow kind of crazy during the winter. I don't even, those leaves I'll take and probably bring some inside and start some more plants. I'm always doing that. There's a cabbage here, another coleus plant, catnip in between, collards, and this is another kumquat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one has never fruited really the way we wanted to. That one, little one, believe it or not, fruits on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have more kale over here. Two different types of kale.
Look.
Oh, cauliflower! We have a head. Look, everyone. So beautiful. We got Lasantino in the corner. We have some pineapple sage back there. And we don't keep this covered. It just kind of comes back. But I'll push it back. You know, these plants do fine because they are mulched in. They are really mulched in. We had to cut down our pistachio tree. I think it was, which one was it? The male or the female?
That was a male.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a female.
Yeah, that sun came in, and I talk about the ozone layer. It was so strong, strong tree for this year. For some reason, there must have been a hole in the ozone area. I don't know what happened, but it just burned the tree. So we lost the tree. We have a little bit of beets back here, and this is I combined it to be our one and only strawberry patch. This is our strawberry patch, and it's covered with mulch. What's happening underground is the good news that they're steady multiplying. The sets are, and you see how nice and green. I made lots and lots of leaves, teas this year with this. I have lots of teas that I freeze dried. My husband freeze dried. So strawberry leaves are very rich in vitamins, especially vitamin C. You have to understand that all of these things, there's so many good ingredients. And we go to the grocery store, we think we're shopping. This is true shopping and grocery shopping right out here. The things that you need that's going to help your body to live stronger and longer. Now, again, as I was telling you that, I know we spend a lot of money on trays and transplants and stuff. I'm not fancy at all. Look at all my transplants right here. They're nice. They're keeping each other warm. You know what those are? Those are beets. And when I'm ready to, when you saw those other beets over there, that's how they got there. I took one or two out, transplanted them over like I'm doing surgery, and then they get bigger. They have enough room for them. And something else that is on for the season, and it was his time to go out, I put these in place. So as I said before, my husband's going to clean out that area in that one garden. I'm not worried about what we lost because it was time for it to go. But then he's going to powder it with some kind of clay that is all natural clay powder. And then we'll give these babies a chance to come in. They're new and strong. This is bok choy once again. And then these are some beets that I did transplant. These couple right there. And these are grown from seeds. All of these are seeds. So again, all of these are going to be for my harvest. Yes. So this is the mother Napolis. We take plants from here. We make more plants out, and we put them out front. This is a very source of soluble fiber as well. Good for high blood pressure. So many things. I use those in the juice as well. A lot of people use them in hair care products. This is mullein, and this mullein is a prize. It comes back every year. Teas, mullein is very medicinal for earaches. It's good for fevers, and it is such a wonderful tea for coughs, for respiratory, and I wouldn't disturb her for nothing. You're doing your job, Mama. And so, my pretty garden is not what we're after. We're looking at recycling and doing what nature does. Look at all of this stuff my husband has on here, wood chips, layers of it. Like I said, so he does so much to keep what we have going, and we work together as a team. I could not do this without him, and
I
I
couldn't do it without her.
and so we're a team, and we work together. We are seniors, but we love what we do, and we take our time, and we do this well every day. We look forward to mornings to get up and go and start something new.
Don't
We
ever
have
bump
things.
into this plant.
Yeah, be careful.
You will regret it.
Oh, are you talking about the Nepalese?
The police.
Oh, well, he's gotten stuck by this thing so many times. I keep saying that, if he has his cane, he's okay. But listen, it will stick you. But this tree, this Nepalese has multiplied over and over again. I'm going to take you and show you where the babies are. Over here, we have things coming in. I have some ashwagandha that's coming in. These are sumac, so I know the difference, but I'm going to let them go. This is ashwagandha babies. I have some more ashwagandha over there, too, and I'll show you later. Rosemary, lemongrass, and believe it or not, these wild dandelions, I let, and any type of things like that, I let grow because I want the seeds from it. Calindia right here. It's funny. We could not get this flower bush of his favorite flowers, to do anything in the summer. So in the winter, it said, "Hi, Dad."
It's 40-something degrees out here.
And it's been making a beautiful flower. At least this is the third one, I think. And I mean, it's just amazing.
It's weird.
Yeah. And what is weird about uh, these, that's a whole nother story. I've been growing them for so long. They were doing good, then they go back and they do bad. I haven't figured out all of the gist on them. They grew really tall and long, but I can't get them to make fruit. I don't know if it's too much heat, but I'm going to work that out. I've asked my father to give me the wisdom on that because I don't have it yet, but I'm working on it. And so I'm going to take you out front. We have this sticky little cactus over here, the Nepalese, because this one is the one that we should hopefully get fruit from. But we don't want anybody to get stuck. It's growing.
That's the one I got stung by.
Yeah. And over here, while we're here, we have a couple of things going on that keeps us going, and I'll show you. Oh, because I do a lot of composting. Yeah, this is composting. So that's wheatgrass that I let get too big. And if I saw any type of a fungus, I don't use it. I don't play that. Yeah. So my husband will be putting some more topsoil on that and breaking that down. And then here we have our wood chips, gorilla. What is this called?
It's called gorilla hair.
Gorilla hair and wood chips. So we use that to mulch plant beds and things of that nature. But like I said, there's never a dull moment around here. We're always doing something, and we're always busy, and we always like it. And there's secret gardens that you can have, and you can still grow things, and nobody has to know. So anyway, here in this front bed, I've been tucking away things. So this is Calindia. This doesn't look like anything, but this is actually purslane.
I think it'll come back.
Oh, it is, for sure. See this like this, these juicy? It's just going to stay low and stay nice mulched in. There's more Calindia. And then in the corner over here, patches of it. But it doesn't look like anything now, but it's definitely going to come back, and it's going to be nice and full. In here, I save room because usually I grow hibiscus, the Jamaican hibiscus, and they grow really big and tall. So I'm going to start them now in the house because they don't grow well until late, and it's a couple in the summer, and they don't even bloom until like maybe November.
Yeah,
and then you'll get the catalyst, the big, nice fat ones around November. So it's important to start them early indoors. You have to know the climate, what zone you're in, and then you start working with things. Now these, they look a little dry, but this is how they save and reserve energy. My husband will give them some water, and they'll pump back up. And I do like to take these when they're not so dry, and then use those pads
to eat our meals with.
Yes, and process them also in powder because they are very nutritious as well. We think about how people survived in different areas, and these are the plants that they use. Dr. Sabi talks about Nepalese quite a bit.
All these Nepalese that you see here started with a pad, just
from the mother plant.
From the mother plant.
Yeah,
and that's the mother back here. So all those that you see are her children. They have. My wife restarted and propagated. She's a propagation queen also. She's got a lot of titles. In other words, she's good at what she does. She's a farm girl.
But I'll tell you one thing: the early bird gets the worm. So let me share something with you. This was so full of hawthorn berries, but our little friends love the berries. See, now there's only few all over, but they were full. But we have robins out here, so this is a pick for them as well. Now, I usually collect them, and I didn't collect them the other week, so I'll go over and look at my other plant. This is what sweet bay, laurel bay, very good, very medicinal. So again, you can have plants in your right in your
in plain sight.
right, and this is an HOA neighborhood, so you can have them in plain sight. We have aloes at the door, and these are transplants that I grew from babies as well. And I have some calendia coming up finally in one of these, and right here some lilies of the Nile, and there is some
This is Calendia.
calendia coming up, and these are moringa clippings, and they possibly perhaps will grow as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually do. They're rooted from the bottom. You won't see that till early spring on some of the smaller ones. Lantana, which is very medicinal, some mosquito repellent as well. And as you can see, there's a forest full of other plants, yellow bells, and I'm going to see that they did get over here. So these birds have been busy. I was busy and they were busy, and I'll show you the proof of it. All of these were full
Man,
with berries.
they ate them off of
Oh, they did. They say there's berries out here.
I guess their heart's gonna be good.
Yeah, the livestock knows what to do. Look at this one little berry right here. Look at that. Now, so let me give you one warning about these. I put them out front mainly because at the time that I started to plant these, my grandchildren were very small, and I did not want them getting into anything that could be possibly poisonous. So I placed them out in the front where they are never out here without supervision, even though they know the plants and we tell them. I still advise every parent to say when you're teaching your children about herbs, you need to be cautious to let them know certain things if they touch hemlock, water, these different things, foxglove. There's a lot of poisonous plants just as well. The same one with the one I just showed you about with the mosquito repellent, the lantana
Oh
right here,
yes. Mm-hmm.
poisonous.
Yeah.
So, and when I say poisonous, depending on what they do with it, there's, getting it on their hands, irritation in the eyes, to be even fatal. So we always want to be careful with Yahshua's given us. It's precious, it's life. But like anything else, you proceed with caution, even before you get into any regimens of taking herbs from anyone, anywhere. You should know them. I never prescribe anything to someone unless I've used it myself and I have the history and I can point to you. That's why I believe in herbalism and going through a training. I love all of the fresh ideals, and I think that the generation should continue to go with that, but also pride, proven and tested with a doctor or with someone that has been doing this through some type of form of practice, and they have tracked that. You want to make sure so you know you don't get into an area which could cost you or someone else their life. You have to take it just that serious, and I do. So I'm very, very leery about telling people, oh, just go take that because you don't know. They might have an interaction to it, contraindications to something they're taking, or it could be possibly that their system. We have a system, and Joshua said we are beautiful, fearfully, and wonderfully made. But you have to know what you're made of, and then you have to know that there's things that you cannot tolerate. For one, I cannot tolerate golden seal. Most African Americans cannot, and they wonder why. I don't know what it is to that, but it's an Indian herb and it is used. But I always replace that one with another herb that has the same energy, and I will replace that with, most of the time I'll use echinacea. There's a few things, red clover. So herbs are replaceable sometimes with another herb, so you don't have to feel like all is lost because there's something. Yahweh created this. He knew exactly what he was doing, so I never sweat it. You just have to find a replacement that's going to be adaptable to you. Dr. Sabi hated golden seal. I don't follow everything Dr. Sabi does, and I respect him 200%. But as long as I've practiced certain things that I know that I can do and I do them. But once again, we were just bringing you up to date for 2025. We have a lot coming, like I said before. We have digital products, and you're going to see that. We're going to be announcing our stand, everything and the knowledge of the 35 years of owning a preschool learning center, mentor, the books, the 9 books, and they are not just regular books anymore. They are educational, they're workbooks, there's formats, homeschooling, also for doing what I've done all my life, was Back to Eden Garden, my husband and myself, and developing the plans on how you can do the same thing and create that from recipes to information. It's going to be available for you this year, and this is coming soon. So I hope you stay with us and you come along through the whole year into our journey back to Africa to see what we're doing on the other side of the continent as well. We have a lot It's a family affair. We love you. We thank you for your support, even when we take long vacations. But you know what? We like to keep it real. We have our families, our extended families, and life is precious. And we try to keep things in the order, doing decently in order, so we don't interfere with the things that we need to do every day, but at the same time, bring you excellent, not a bunch of garbage, not about he say, she say, but it's realness. And we wish everyone peace, love, and joy for the new year. Thank you for being with us. Be sure to like, subscribe.
Subscribe, share, and leave a comment. Really
Yes.
depend on your comment. Hit that like button, that thumbs up button, so that we are able to produce more content. Let us know what kind of content you want to see.
Right.
Select the bell and ring all so you get further notification of new content. Or if you haven't seen our content, it'll all be new to you.
Yes. Yes. Once again, Happy New Year from the Epicurean and the Herbalist, our Back to Eden Urban Garden, and from the Herbal Triage and the Adventures of Lo on the Go coming to you. Take care.